Burnley Football Club, possibly one of the biggest projects in English football, with Vincent Kompany coming in just this summer alongside 17 brand new players. Life is brilliant for Clarets fans who see their side 15 points clear of third place at the top of the championship. But believe it or not, this is not the height that Burnley fans have seen over the past few years. This is not the peak of the mountain. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the moment Burnley Football Club secured their place in the Europa League for the 2018-19 season. Yeah, as you can see, we're blatantly in dreamland. So today, if you couldn't tell already, we are going to be looking through the historic season that Burnley Football Club had, which saw them qualify for the Europa League, for the European competition, for the first time in 51 years. That's a lot of years.
Cheers, Jeff.
I think the best place for us to start on the 17-18 season is the summer window prior. Burnley lost out on some massive players in Andre Gray left for 11 million. Michael Keane then left for 24 million. George Boyd left. A lot of players that had really been very good servants at the club and massive talent and have played a massive part in Burnley staying up the season before. But Burnley did what Burnley never usually do. They spent a little bit of money.
Oh my God! Wow!
Chris Wood arrived from Leeds, who obviously played a big role in the coming season and then moved on to Newcastle a few years later. Jack Cork, who's still a massive part of the club, arrived from Swansea. Naki Wells came in. Did nothing, but he came in. Jonathan Walters.
Who?
Aaron Lennon, Phil Bardsley, and Charlie Taylor.
Hi.
But for a Premier League club, this window is nowhere near what you'd expect, especially a club that would go on to do some outrageous things in the following season. This is pretty poor, I think you could say, considering they made around 30-35 million on Michael Keane, Andre Gray, and a few other departures that had came in that summer. But it meant Burnley had probably one of the strongest squads they'd had in a long while. You know, you already had some big players in that team, such as Stephen Defoe. We will definitely be getting on to Stephen Defoe soon. He is a massive talking point when we talk about this season. He's a massive reason Burnley did so well, but we'll save that for a little bit later in. So if we start from the beginning, Burnley away at the champions, Chelsea, the Bridge. One of the toughest starts to a season you could ask for, pretty much the toughest. Only one thing was on the cards, let's be real. Burnley were going to get battered. But Sean Dyche said, no, the Ginger Mourinho was not having it. Burnley put 3 past Chelsea and leave 3-2 victors. Mental. But classic Burnley did return, and that hope of, oh, maybe Burnley could do something quickly dwindled for Burnley fans, who then got beat 1-0 at home by West Bromwich Albion. Just Burnley in it, considering the first 3 games they drew 1-1 with Tottenham, beat Chelsea, and got beat by West Brom. If that's not Burnley, then I don't know what is. However, after the 1-1 draw with Tottenham, Burnley would find themselves in the top 6 after just losing 1 from their next 8 games. Articles such as Burnley take advantage of Tottenham's slip-up started to be put everywhere. Burnley fans were just in awe, I suppose. I know myself, from Burnley usually talking about taking the advantage of, Newcastle slipping up or Bournemouth slipping up, trying to get out the bottom 3, to Burnley were now taking advantage of top 6 teams not getting all 3 points. It was pretty surreal, as I'm sure you can imagine. So after game week 14, Burnley was sitting comfortably in the top 6. I'm pretty sure no one thought that Burnley had any chance of actually finishing there. But the thought of Burnley staying up, I'm sure, was still on everyone's mind. Everyone was like, you know what, lads, we might actually stay up this year, comfortably this time. 14 points was all that was needed at this point for Burnley to stay up. And that was the only goal for the club, I imagine. Sean Dyche said it repeatedly in interviews. We focus on that 40 points. We focus on that 40 points. And Burnley fans were happy with that. I was happy with that. Hey, as long as we stay up, who cares? Burnley's unbelievable season continued well up to Christmas, where on the 26th, Burnley faced off against Manchester United after being 5 points clear of 8th place Leicester. Burnley was still in the top 7 and their chances of getting Europe were drastically increasing. Although their top 4 chances had dropped off, it was a big one on the cards. Burnley away at Old Trafford. If they could get a point, it would be massive. Obviously, Manchester United was sitting second in somewhat of a title race with Manchester City. But who stepped up? The man we mentioned earlier, the goal we watched earlier, no one else but Steven Defoe. I'll just let you watch this one and take it all in.
I fancy Defoe to hit this. Defoe does hit it. Hits it well! Oh, what a goal! Oh, what a goal from Steven Defoe! It's a free kick to die for! Oh, top class!
However, after this massive result at Old Trafford, Burnley would go 2 whole months without a win. 8 games would be played, Burnley would win none of them.
Look at my lips, you're ruining it. Ruining the fun for the next man.
However, they still sat 7th in the table. Somehow, this really makes me think that we could have probably got top 4 if we turned it on for the full season. I'm not complaining that Burnley only got top 7, but I mean, top 4 surely was a possibility if we somehow scraped this. After literally playing like the under 9s for 2 months, we were still 3 points ahead of trailing Leicester. We then went on to beat Everton and recite that form that had got Burnley so far. Burnley went on to win them 3 next games, which would take them to a home fixture against Leicester City. Burnley win, Burnley qualify for Europe. The pressure was on. Although, yes, they did already have a decent gap. If a Leicester win happened here, there could be a lot of doubt in the minds of Burnley fans, Burnley players, and the staff at Burnley, whether or not they would hold off this Leicester side until the end of the season. I'll just play the clip again, boy. We'll just play it. So if you couldn't tell, Burnley did in fact win that game against Leicester 2-1 with goals from Chris Wood and Kevin Long being enough to see off Leicester. Results elsewhere went Burnley's way and Burnley qualified for Europe. What? So like I said before, it meant Burnley would qualify for Europe for the first time in 51 years as a result of just this, not just this game, but also results elsewhere that went their way. Now, I know we've been trying to fathom some sense from this video, but it still doesn't make any sense. I mean, if we look, I've got the table up right now, and I think it was just a poor season, you know. To get top 4, you needed 75 points, you know. Pretty decent. I mean, City got Centurion. That, I guess, tells the standard. But to get top 7, it was 54 points. I don't know if Burnley did well or other teams just underachieved. But this cannot be put as anything else other than absolute miracle. Like, the fact that the season before Burnley had finished just outside the relegation zone. Sean Dyche does not get enough credit that he took this team, a relegation team. Well, if we actually start from the beginning, he took a team that were destined for League One to getting Europe. And it's not the fact, like, there was no big takeover that came in to get him that Europe. He did it with a minimal squad. At the start of the video, we looked back at some of the transfers Burnley had done. There was nothing absolutely out of this world, let's be realistic. And Dyche still found a way. It's absolutely insane. It's still, to this day, one of the things that I will never understand. Dyche does not get anywhere near enough credit for this unbelievable act that he did. Burnley Football Club were on a European tour in the following season. Burnley fans were on a European tour. Burnley fans were at Olympiacos away. Olympiacos away, boys. It's mental still. But if you didn't already know about this, incredible story, or if you just want to relive it again. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you haven't already, make sure to leave a like, subscribe for more football content, matchday vlogs, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.